Jesse Lee Peterson made a video called "Why Shouldn't I Be Thankful for Slavery?" The reason you shouldn't be thankful for slavery, Jesse, is because humans have a right to freedom, and slavery was an atrocious infringement of the rights of those who were enslaved. That being said, let's debunk Jesse's pro-slavery propaganda.
Let me go out to New York and talk to a first-time caller, Asmaram. Asmaram, welcome to the show. Thanks for calling. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse. My
How
question
you?
is, why do you feel the need to kowtow to white supremacists?
And what do you mean?
You said, and I quote, you said exactly about slavery. Thank God and white people for slavery. That is something white supremacists would say. Why do you feel the need to kowtow to them?
And why is it that I'm kowtowing down to them by saying what I think about it?
If slavery was a good thing is your genuine view, then saying so isn't kowtowing to white supremacists. It's just you sharing a morally reprehensible belief with them.
You think slavery was a good thing?
Yes,
What? Why?
that's a good question. I think it was good in that those were the times.
The slavery era of the US was a horrible time for black people in America.
And it allowed us to be born in America, the greatest country on this side of heaven.
America isn't in heaven, it's on earth. Earth and heaven are not the same place.
We were allowed to be born here rather than sneaking across the borders or having to fill out an application and wait for years or take a test, which we would have never passed, by the way.
I'm not familiar with the immigration process, so I don't know if there's a test immigrants need to pass to come here legally. However, black legal immigrants do exist. So if there is a test immigrants need to pass to come here, then obviously black people are capable of passing that test.
But take a
So,
test, and so rather than and all cultures have been enslaved in one form or fashion or another, right?
Yes, and every time a culture has been enslaved, it was a disgusting violation of human rights and not something good to be appreciated. Imagine if we live in an alternate world where Sharia law took over every country. This is like if I argued every country has been taken over by Sharia law in one form or fashion or another, as to why I'm grateful for Sharia law taking over the US.
And so rather than wimping and whining and begging, especially blacks today who don't even know anything about slavery.
I'm pretty sure most black people know that in the US black people were enslaved. That's a fact about slavery most black people know. Now you can argue that there's a lot of information about slavery most black people don't know about, like that there were black slave owners. It was other blacks that sold black slaves to the US, and that slavery happened across the world. I don't know if most black people know those things. I just mentioned them as examples of stuff about slavery you could say most black people don't know about. However, the claim that most black people don't know anything about slavery is completely ridiculous.
They have freedom to do what they want.
Because slavery was abolished, black people having freedom is a result of the thing you appreciate being abolished. This is like if rape was abolished from the world, and I cited the fact that nobody today was forced to have sex against their will as to why I'm grateful for rape.
Instead of complaining, I would show my appreciation to the folks who died and sacrificed their lives that I might be born in the greatest country in the world.
Being born here in of itself isn't a good thing. Being born here in America as a free American citizen is great. However, being born here as people's property is bad, and the people behind slavery didn't bring your ancestors here so you and their other descendants can be American citizens. They did that so they can use your ancestors as property, and if slavery wasn't abolished, you'd be property as well.
So even though slavery looked like it was a bad thing, it turned out to be good for us because we could be stuck in Africa somewhere.
I agree that being born in America as an American citizen is a benefit you have that wouldn't have happened if your ancestors weren't brought here as slaves. However, just because a violation of human rights benefited the descendants of the victims doesn't mean you should be thankful for that violation of human rights. You can be grateful for the benefit you received from it, but you shouldn't be grateful for the violation of human rights. For example, if a woman is raped and this results in a boy named Jake coming into existence, it's fine for Jake to be grateful for his existence, just like it's okay for you to be grateful you were born in America. However, if Jake is grateful for rape, that makes him a morally reprehensible piece of garbage. Likewise, you being grateful for slavery makes you a morally reprehensible piece of garbage.
But wait, why do you have to liken it to being on a crowded airplane? That's what you said about slave ships. Why do you have to trivialize it?
That's another good question. You know how when the slaves were coming over, and
they were shackled in ships.
they were like right down at the bottom of the boat there, and and if you, I don't know if you ever been on an airplane. When you ride in the back of the plane, it's like riding on a slave ship. The seats are so close together, and they don't feed you anymore back there.
I've been on multiple planes where they serve food. Regardless, even if planes don't serve food, this is a false equivalence since plane rides usually take hours while the slave ships would take 35 days.
I think they're changing that now, but they don't feed you. And you could be sitting next to fat people, people who are musty, haven't bathed or anything like that. And so what we did was we created a slave ship to send the blacks back who are complaining about this country rather than showing them, giving to the country.
If you're enslaved, then complaining is completely justified. Also, why should anyone give to a country that enslaved them?
We created a slave ship, and it's the same type of ship that they came over here on, so that if they want to go back, we'll send them back.
Well, you do know at least half of the people on the slave ships end up dying because of starvation and disease and stuff like that. It's a little different than an average airplane, don't you think?
Well, nowadays it's possible to die on an airplane.
Yeah, but getting into something like a plane crash is statistically very unlikely. Also, I doubt people are dying as a result of the conditions of a plane. You could get a heart attack while you just happen to be on a plane, but that's very different than starving while being on a slave ship.
But
Yeah, but most
I
people
do
don't.
understand that, and that's the reason. And that's the reason that I'm living upright as a black American to show my appreciation to those folks who died on those ships that I might be here.
Are you saying black people who complained and didn't give to this country died on the slave ship so you can be here? What you said made absolutely no sense.
It's okay. You know,
Does that make sense? Does that make sense at all?
No, it doesn't. But
So is it better to show your appreciation or to complain the rest of your life?
I'm not a supporter of black people keep on complaining, but I'm saying when
But
you
which
trivialize
is
the
better?
person,
Which is better, to show your appreciation or to complain?
nobody's. I'm not.
No, I'm
I still
asking you a
want to appreciate
question. I'm
America.
not saying you are. Which is better, to show your appreciation or to complain?
It's better to do both. If there is something worth appreciating, then you should show appreciation. And if a violation of human rights happens, like slavery, you should complain about it and hopefully try to stop it. I don't think black people should complain about slavery today since it was abolished. In my opinion, black people should get over it. However, if I had to choose between black people appreciating slavery or continuing to complain about slavery, I'd choose the latter every time because appreciating a violation of human rights is much worse than continuing to complain about a wrong that was already ended.
I'm not going to appreciate slavery, no,
And why not?
because millions of your ancestors, not mine, I'm an immigrant, but millions of your ancestors.
Where are you from?
Well, I mean, I grew up here, but I was born in Africa.
And so
Yeah.
you're mad at me for showing my appreciation, and you don't even know you
You
never.
can, you
That
can show
doesn't
your
even make
appreciation.
sense.
Yes, it does. If you appreciate people's rights being violated, it makes perfect sense that people will get mad at you for that because most people value human rights.
What doesn't make sense is for a black man to
Here
say
you are
slavery
from
was a good thing.
Africa. You came over here freely, right?
Yeah.
And you're doing
And I show,
and you're
and I
doing
show my
well, right?
appreciation. And I show my
And
appreciation.
you're
I
doing
don't
well,
go,
right?
yeah.
Him doing well is irrelevant. Him doing well does not change the oppression slaves face was a disgusting violation of human rights that shouldn't be appreciated.
And I show
Well,
my
who are
appreciation.
you to tell me I can't appreciate my own country?
One, you know who he is. You said at the beginning of this video that his name is Asmaram. Two, nobody's saying you can't appreciate America. That's fine. What's not okay is appreciating slavery.
This is
I
not
never
even your
said-
country.
Yes, it is. This country belongs to immigrants just as much as it belongs to citizens that were born here. As long as the immigrants came here legally.
No. I said you.
I
you
can't
don't show
believe
your-
you.
Yo, I said you cannot show appreciation to
I
slavery.
can't
okay? I
believe
didn't-
you, man.
I'll make you believe in me.
I bet
I did
you're
not
doing
say-
well, right?
That has nothing to do with whether slavery should be appreciated or not.
I did not say you shouldn't show your appreciation for the country. I said you don't show appreciation for slavery.
Why
okay,
not?
let me tell you this.
Why not?
Because it was a disgusting violation of human rights. I go back to my Jake existing as a result of rape comparison. It's fine for Jake to appreciate existing, just like it's fine for you to appreciate being born in America. What's not okay is for Jake to appreciate his mother being raped. Likewise, it's not okay for you to appreciate slavery. Morally speaking, that is.
Wait, the Holocaust is a bad thing.
No,
correct?
why? No. Why not show appreciation for slavery? It allowed me to be born in this country.
You could have been born here. You could have immigrated here if it wasn't for slavery.
I don't know that.
What, millions of
No,
white
I
people
don't
were-
know that.
Hypothetically, let's say there's a 100% chance if it weren't for slavery, you'd never be an American. You being an American is not more important than the rights of your ancestors to not be slaves. Why should your ancestors suffer for your benefit?
Well, so would you rather be? Wow. If you went through slavery, then I'm telling you, you would have a completely different view, sir.
I know about slavery better than you do. I grew up on a plantation.
Did you grow up on a plantation as a slave? The answer is obviously no, because there aren't any black people who went through slavery in the US that are still alive today, so this point doesn't mean anything.
You came here freely.
Are you still in the plantation?
So what?
You're still in the plantation, apparently.
Wait, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Jesse, you're literally defending slavery. You're the one who should be ashamed of yourself.
If you come to my country and going to tell me how I should act about my country.
He's telling you you should appreciate slavery. That is not the same thing as telling you how you should act about the US.
No, I said.
That
you
is
should not-
where you, I can't believe you.
Never believe it's not so.
Man.
Wait. Let me tell you something.
How are you
The
going to come
Holocaust
to
is
my
actually- hold on,
country
hold on,
and
hold on.
tell me how I should be acting about my country?
Nobody's telling you how to act about America. However, if someone were to come here and tell you how to act about America, I assume they'd do that by immigrating here and then use their First Amendment right to tell you how they think you should act about America.
Was the Holocaust a bad thing?
That's
Yes or no?
neither here nor there.
No, I'm just asking you. I need your opinion.
I don't know. I didn't go through the Holocaust.
You don't need to go through something to determine whether it was good or bad.
I'm talking about the slavery thing that the black folks went through.
You didn't go through slavery, so if you can't determine whether the Holocaust was good or bad because you didn't go through it, then you shouldn't make any judgments about slavery, whether those judgments be positive or negative, and appreciating something requires that you see it in a positive light.
So which was okay? So if a Jew said, "Oh, the
What kind of
Holocaust
work?
was
What type of work do you do?
work," I'm in college.
And see there? So you came here to my country, and did you volunteer and come here, or did someone make you come?
Well, I was very little when I came here, so it wasn't
Who brought you here?
my parents who are citizens.
Uh-huh. Do they know?
yeah.
They know that you're going along with these black Americans who were born here?
Agreeing with black people who were born here isn't an inherently bad thing. You're a black American that was born here, so by your own logic, agreeing with you is bad.
Do your parents
I'm
know?
not-
Do they
I'm
know
not
what
going
you're
along with
doing?
anyone. I'm not going along with anyone.
You
I just
sound
think
just like them.
He sounds nothing like you, Jesse.
I don't appreciate the sins of this country.
You
I
sound,
appreciate
and
this
then go back to Africa.
Not appreciating America doesn't mean he prefers Africa over America.
All right, let's go.
Hold on, man. Lord have mercy. Back in a moment. So, Asmaran, first time call out of New York. Let me ask, you've heard white people talk about bringing back slavery?
Not really, no.
Then why do you say that you call me white supremacist and then you bring up the slavery thing?
I said some white supremacists want to bring back slavery. Not all white people. Most white people are not racist or white supremacists.
What-
But you kowtow to the ones that are.
Be quiet, man. You from Africa.
There's nothing wrong with being from Africa.
Don't talk like that.
What's wrong with the way he's talking?
Well, what white supremacists? What white supremacists want to bring back slavery? When have you heard that?
In the Ku Klux Klan rallies, if you go on YouTube, they say they want to bring back slavery.
Oh,
And you seem to think that there was some benefits to slavery that most normal thinking people don't think so.
no, those are not normal thinking people.
Being against slavery is the norm.
Let me ask: are black people? Were you raised by your father and mother?
Yes.
And as a result of that, you're having a good life?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I'm not against that.
Are you a moral man?
A moral?
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know if you are.
Jesse or anyone else that defends slavery is extremely immoral.
Because
Wait, don't worry about me
kowtow
right
to-
now. Let's just do you. Are you a moral man?
Yes.
And as a result, you're having a good life, right?
Yes.
Are most, not all, are most black people suffering due to slavery or the destruction of the family?
Irrelevant. The destruction of the family, which I assume means stuff like high fatherless rates, is one of the biggest problems black people face today, doesn't change the fact that slavery was a violation of human rights that shouldn't be appreciated.
And a lack of moral character.
Having a lack of moral character doesn't always lead to suffering. Sometimes it benefits the immoral person. For example, if I kill someone and keep his money for myself, if I get away with that crime, then I benefited from an immoral action I committed.
I think the destruction of a family is a bad thing. I also think
No,
slavery
that's not
is
what I asked you. I didn't ask you if it was a bad thing. I asked you, are most black people suffering due to the destruction of the family and the lack of moral character? Or
Well, most black people are not suffering. Most black people are doing pretty well.
no, you're not answering my question for some reason.
If most black people aren't suffering, then it logically follows that the destruction of the family and lack of moral character is not causing most black people to suffer. He answered your question.
But I don't accept the premise.
Right,
You said most. Not all. You said most.
right. 70% of black babies are born out of wedlock.
Being born out of wedlock doesn't guarantee suffering.
Is that
That is
most?
a bad thing.
Is that most?
don't mean most black people. Some
It-
black people back then weren't born in out of wedlock.
70% of black babies are born out of wedlock. Is that most?
That's true. That's most.
So what?
Sure. Yeah, that's most.
Why do you hate to say that? Why do you hate to tell the truth?
When did he say he hates to say that and tell the truth?
I don't think it's worse than slavery.
Why did you don't think born out of wedlock is worse than slavery?
Obviously, slavery is worse than being born out of wedlock.
No, I don't think anything. I don't think anything is worse than slavery.
Then how
What about the Holocaust?
do you go over to Chicago, Detroit, and other areas and ask those black people who are killing one another, who are living in their homes and afraid to come out, which is worse?
One, I'm pretty sure they'd say slavery. Two, even if they don't say slavery, I don't care. Just because the victims of X say X is worse than Y doesn't mean X is actually worse than Y. As someone who's been punched in the face repeatedly, I can say getting punched in the face is worse than 9/11. That doesn't mean getting punched in the face is actually worse than 9/11. Thanks for watching. A link to the original video and links to the videos I showed clips of in this video will be down below in the description. If you liked this video, be sure to like, comment, share this video, and subscribe. If you disliked this video, leave a dislike. It helps with the algorithm just as much as a like does. And subscribe anyways. Bye.